Well, as you heard yesterday, some Victorians are headed back to work, with the Premier announcing an easing of restrictions for supermarket workers, abattoir workers, manufacturing. The very strong-armed CFMEU workers, all their working limits have been increased, but not hospitality. Again, they've been left out in the cold. Restaurateur Chris Lucas, along with scores of Melbourne's hospitality leaders, are really pushing hard for the Andrews government to consider an alternative, safe plan to reopen the city's dying restaurant and bar industry. Chris joins me now from his Melbourne institution, the wonderful Chin Chin. Chris, you know, you're getting really serious now. You've got a revised safe operating plan. You want to put it to the government. You're saying you've got to, please, let us open restaurants, cafes, pubs, bars, etc., all from October 19. Under your plan, how would your restaurants operate?
Well, Peter, good evening, and it's good to see you again. Look, there's no doubt that, again, on Sunday, we were faced with another scenario which seems to be repeating itself ad nauseum, which is the Premier keeps on getting up and feeding us a number of lines, hoping that we'll just sit back and accept his word. But his actions, unfortunately, don't speak of consistency here. On Sunday, he allowed abattoirs and construction sites to go back to work. And the last time I looked, the abattoirs were rated as one of the most high-risk industries in Victoria, and in fact in Australia and globally. We saw what happened at Cedar Meats, and we saw significant breakouts all over Victoria at abattoirs, yet they were able to go back to work because they had a COVID-safe plan. We've submitted a COVID-safe plan on multiple occasions, and in fact, as you just correctly pointed out, we've resubmitted a COVID-safe plan once again today. This time we've gone above and beyond what any restaurant organisation or industry has done nationally in any of the other states, and in fact, it's right up there globally with the most stringent COVID plan that we know of. Now, what we're asking for is some transparency, Peter. We're providing the plans, we are doing the work of the government. We're providing our own roadmaps, but again, we continue not to be listened to. And Peter, we keep on being told about the data and the science, but I'm becoming increasingly sceptical, and I think a lot of Victorians are. I'm not so sure that the data and the science is behind the decisions. I don't even think the gang of so-called 8 are behind the decisions. I think it's a gang of 1. I think it's one person calling all the shots as he sees it. And what we've got is a hodgepodge of inconsistencies. Some industries opening if you're a mate of his, or you're a union-based industry, or if you happen to be a supporter for the Labor Party. But if you're 1.2 million small businesses with over 1 million employees, we're sitting at home in the dark. We keep submitting our plans and they keep being rejected, and we keep being told that we're going to have to wait till there's 14 days of 0 cases, but at the same time we get told that it's not a policy of eradication. Well, the ex-health minister just came out today and said it is an eradication policy. If Ms Makakos actually believes it is, then she needs to come out and tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, she belled the cat. Well, Jenny Makakos is very welcome to come on here and talk to me anytime. I'd like to talk to her about some of the things that is now being told, I think, a little bit more openly. Tell me how genuine, how fair income your consultation has been with government. Chris?
Well, it's not been fair dinkum at all, Peter. We've had very poor dialogue, as opposed to New South Wales and Queensland and some of the other states, where the process has been a really strong collaborative process where we've worked hand in hand with government departments, public servants and ministers alike to get our industry reopened. We've been trading now, as you know, where Chin Chin is a very large site in Sydney. We've been trading for 4 months very successfully. We've been working on a very collaborative plan with the government where not everything was done perfectly, but because we've got an open line of communication, we're able to work through the issues. And what we've got now is we've got a restaurant industry that's back up and going, re-employing people. Sydney has re-employed, Peter, over 150,000 hospitality workers in the last 4 months. In Victoria, we're about to lay off 150,000 hospitality workers. I mean, the irony of the whole situation is very, very sad. And again, all we're asking for is some honesty here. We have put everything on the line, as you know. This city is still in the dark, Peter. The streets are still empty,
terrible.
and our restaurants are still shut.
I've got to ask you, I've spoken to quite a lot of people like you, restaurateurs. You've got everything on the line. I know so many of them have got their homes mortgaged. They've tried to work through the process to date. Some of them are talking about legal action. Where's all this headed?
Well, I think that's where it is going to be headed. Unless Mr Andrews can give us some honesty and can lay out a sensible plan and provide us with a genuine ray of hope here. And, as I said to you, the key point here is we need to know what's going on. Is it eradication? Because if it's eradication, Peter, then I think Mr Andrews should resign. We can't have a Premier going rogue when the Prime Minister has put the country on a footing which said we weren't going to pursue an eradication policy, we were going to pursue a policy of suppression while reopening the economy. Now, Mr Andrews needs to come clean. Now, if he doesn't come clean with us, we'll be left with no alternative but to launch one of the largest class actions in Victorian history. No one wants to get involved with that sort of stuff, but we're being pushed into a corner. People's lives, thousands of people's lives are on the line here, Peter. It's not just the 400,000 hospitality workers. There's another 300,000 small farmers, winemakers, people who support this industry. We're talking about nearly 1 million people, Peter. This, he claimed on Sunday with quite an amount of excitement that he was pleased to announce 120,000 people were going back to work. Well, look, that's terrific, but it's a drop in the ocean. There's still over 1 million people in small business who are facing not only bankruptcy, mental trauma, but we have no plan. And this grey area that he thinks we can operate in where we have no proper lines of communication, no proper dialogue, well, I think it is going to end up in the courts. And I think Mr Andrews, I think Mr Andrews is going to owe the taxpayer, on top of already the deluge of mistakes that have been made by his government, this could be another one.
Yes, let's see if he's even around to defend it in court. More strength to your arm, Chris Lucas. Keep going. I know a lot of people listening to you saying they wish you were the small business minister. Thank you for your time.